Our next speaker is the MP for Bury South. He's the Shadow Secretary of State for Northern Ireland. And he is sitting on the table, number 13, and he's ready to speak. It's Ivan Lewis.
Good evening, everybody. I'm really delighted to have the opportunity of being here, to thank all of you who are responsible for putting this amazing event on, and to see such a wonderful turnout, as Siobhan said, is a real demonstration of the distance that this organisation has come in a very short period of time. I want to begin with some thank yous. A friend of mine, Sen Kandia, who does so much to ensure the voice of British Tamils is heard at the highest levels. To Siobhan McDonough, who's championing the Tamil cause within the Labour Party Parliament and wider society. And to Lee Scott, who does an excellent job as chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group. I'd also like to pay tribute to the Tamil community for the tremendous contribution they make to British society through business, culture and civil society, as Chris Grayling just said. And I'm sure I speak for all political parties represented here this evening when I say we have a duty to look more like the communities that we seek to serve. We want to see British Tamil councillors, MPs and MEPs in the future. And in that context, I'm delighted that Uma Karan, Labour's candidate in Harrow East, is here this evening. I'm also pleased that my old friend Jo Ryan is here tonight. She has also championed the Tamil cause for as long as I can remember. And when I describe Jo as old, I'm talking about the length of time I've known her. When Ed Miliband asked me to speak here this evening, it was a pleasure to do so. This community has been truly inspirational in standing up for human rights and justice for the Tamils when frankly far too many people remain silent. And in this week of all weeks, the 70th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau, we should remember it was not only those who perpetrated the evil we need to reflect on, it's those who stood by and did nothing when that evil was being perpetrated. And if we're honest, back in 2009, far too many people were remaining silent, some of them at the heart of the British establishment, and we should say tonight, never ever again. Friends, this is a pivotal moment in Sri Lanka's history, a moment which can deliver hope and optimism for a better future, or perpetuate the injustice and divisions of the past. That is the choice that faces President Sirisena. As Pope Francis said on his recent arrival in Sri Lanka, and I quote, "Sri Lanka for many years knew the horrors of civil strife, and is now seeking to consolidate peace and to heal the scars of those years. It is no easy task to overcome the bitter legacy of injustices, hostility and mistrust left by the conflict. It can only be done by overcoming evil with good, and by cultivating those virtues which foster reconciliation, solidarity and peace. The process of healing also needs to include the pursuit of truth, not for the sake of opening old wounds, but rather as a means of promoting justice, healing and unity." While we're under no illusions that the new government will bring the immediate changes people in this room will want, it's absolutely right that tonight we're clear about our expectations, and I think this unites all politicians of all parties in this room. Firstly, we expect the new government to address the allegations of war crimes and crimes against humanity arising from the end of the country's armed conflict. Secondly, end the culture of impunity which has blighted the country for so long. Thirdly, negotiate a comprehensive political settlement. And finally, ensure that the rights and freedoms of all Sri Lanka's citizens are respected and protected. We expect them to comply with the UN Human Rights Council resolutions and to allow the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights investigation to take place and crucially, to take place with the UN providing witness protection to all of the victims. As Ed Miliband made clear this evening, we support a transparent, independent international process to investigate war crimes, crimes against humanity and the intent of genocide during the conflict. And if elected in May, we will champion this process in the international community. Friends, as the Shadow Secretary of State for Northern Ireland, I'm acutely aware of the complexities and challenges facing a society emerging from conflict. During my period in this role, and I'm pleased that the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland is here this evening, it's become clear that for societies to move forward, there has to be a credible process to deal with the pain and the trauma of the past. Victims and their loved ones are entitled to truth and justice. They must have confidence in the integrity and independence of the framework and organisations established to deal with that past. And friends, pain and trauma does not begin and end with one generation. It passes from one generation to the next. That is why it is essential, both within Sri Lanka and by international institutions, that truth and justice should remain a top priority. Only a political solution, recognising the right to self-determination of the Tamils, can ultimately address the root causes of this conflict. Now, I can understand why many in this room, despite all of the fine words, may feel a sense of pessimism about the future. However, reflecting on the seemingly insoluble global challenges that have been conquered in my lifetime, I remain an optimist. Let's think about it. Just in my lifetime, against the odds, the Berlin Wall crumbled and the totalitarian Soviet Union collapsed. Apartheid was dismantled and Nelson Mandela became president of a free, democratic South Africa. After the struggles of the civil rights movement in the 1960s, an African American called Barack Hussein Obama became President of the United States in 2009. In Northern Ireland, previously sworn foes, the Reverend Ian Paisley and Marty McGuinness, worked together harmoniously in the pursuit of a better future for Northern Ireland. So nobody but nobody ever say anything is impossible. Let us hope the next chapter in this series of unimaginable progress will be the story of a new Sri Lanka which deals honestly with its past and ensures the rights and freedoms of all Sri Lankan citizens are equally respected and protected. That is a prize worth fighting for. Thank you very, very much.